Welcome back, you guys. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Swardik Mayanja, and on this channel I bring you news, research, current events, and fun topics that matter to nurses everywhere.
Doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is to go on doing things you don't like doing, which is stupid. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
Today you might be able to tell that the format of this video is a little different. There's more than just one story on it, and I am going to try and continue to do this because I watched all my favorite news networks on YouTube, the Philip DeFrancos, the Young Turks, you know, the David Pakman show, you name it. This is the process. This is how news is delivered, and I just want to join into that process, make sure this is much more streamlined. On top of that, it also helps because I love to ramble and ramble and ramble, and I've gotten that kind of feedback, so please continue to give me feedback. This hopefully gets me there. Rambling like I am now, we're going to cut the bullshit, cut the fat, get straight to the topic, and we can get a whole lot of it done in a whole lot less time. So, jumping right in today, talking about cutting the fat, first story of the day is on BMI. If you don't know what BMI is, it's a tool, it's a formula used to measure the body percentage, the body fat percentage we have. It's used widely across the nation, really across the entire world. And if you don't know what it is or how it's done, if you live outside of the US, you weigh yourself, that measurement in kilograms, and you divide it by your height in centimeters squared. And if you do live in the US and you don't use the metric system, but you are a nurse and you do use the metric system at work, and why do I hate that? I don't know why they decided to do that. But if you live in the US, instead of kilograms, just weigh yourself, get that weight in pounds, divide that by your height in inches squared. Whatever that resulting number is, here is the chart, the BMI chart. And in the BMI chart, if you are between 18 and 25, you are considered normal. If you are from 25 to 30, you are considered overweight. Anything over 30, you're obese, morbidly obese, you know. And if you under 18, you are considered underweight. So when did this BMI thing start, and why is it important? It was invented in the 1800s, and it was invented for population studies, and really blew up nationally and like just across the world. It blew up in 1972 when a key study was done and performed on a large group, 7,000 or more people, and they found that the formula that best measures population body weight body fat percentage is BMI. And I want you to understand that the study itself said population, underlining the word population. It's not individuals. It wasn't meant for us to go to the doctor and the doctor or the nurse tell you that you are overweight because the BMI chart says so. And is this true? Yes. And for a long time, healthcare providers and researchers alike have been saying BMI, it's not right. It's not accurate. It's not precise. It might consider you obese. It might consider you morbidly obese. It might consider you overweight or underweight when in fact you are not. So what should we do? What is the exact way? What is the best way for you to find out the exact and most precise body fat percentage on your body? One of them is an x-ray. And why is it an x-ray? Because, like, you know, you break your bone, you go into the x-ray. The x-ray actually shows you what the difference between your organs, your bones, and your fat. It just, you can see it. It's one of the most accurate and precise ways to figure that out. The reason we don't use x-rays to measure body fat percentage is because number one, it is expensive. It just costs more money. It's not free like the BMI to measure someone's BMI. But more importantly, it is unsafe to be getting exposed to that kind of radiation every week or every month. Even if it is every month and that's the only time you weigh yourself, then it's still unsafe. Being exposed to X-ray radiation is no good, so that's the reason, two main reasons we don't use it. Another precise and accurate way of finding out your body fat percentage is by using a very highly accurate machine for bioelectrical impedance analysis. And what is this? It sounds cool. It basically just is an electric current that goes through your body and measures the fat composition of your body, and that's what it comes. And it's very accurate, it's very precise, but same, very much like the x-ray, the reason we don't use it is because it's expensive. You can actually buy some of these off the counter, you know, online, but please be safe. Read the directions. Number one, it's not as accurate, not as precise. And number two, please talk to your healthcare provider before you do anything crazy like shock yourself on purpose just to know how much fat is on you. So what are we going to do? Those two options, the x-rays and the electricity, it's too expensive. How are we going to figure out our body fat percentage that is cheap and free and accessible like BMI is? And that's the largest reason why we continue to use BMI, knowing that it is not accurate, not precise, and can be wrong. In fact, 20% of the time. So a great free way to measure body fat percentage in children, especially the ages 8 through 17, is called TMI, very similar to BMI. The TMI, it's called the triponderal body mass index, and the calculation, the formula is the weight divided by the height, but instead of doing the weight divided by the height squared, you do the weight divided by the height cubed. It's important that this is used more so on children, especially the ages 8 through 17, because in that age, we know you're a teenager, you're going through puberty, people get their height spurts, and overnight you go from being 5 foot tall to being 6 foot tall, if using the BMI chart, if you do the BMI formula, it can throw that off very, very much. And especially when we're super insecure as teenagers in high school, going to the hospital and then your nurse or your doctor telling you, yeah, you're overweight because you just gained this much pounds over like the last 6 months, when in fact you've been going to the gym or you've been working out or you're part of a sports team. If it's not cool and you're hurting someone when they're already down. For adults, the best way to measure obesity, it's probably the easiest and the simplest way, and that's just a waist to hip ratio. And that is done if you just take a tape measure, go around the waist, which is right above your belly button, all the way around, you get that length, and then you do the same thing for your hips. So when you look at your hips in the mirror, you want to look at your hips at the widest possible spot, go around the entire waist, get that length, and then you want to do the weight divided by the waist divided by the hip. With all that being said, none of these are absolutely perfect. None of these are 100% right in measuring your specific body fat percentage, or if you're obese, or if you're underweight, or if you're in good standings. What you want to do is you want to do as many as you can do as many as you feel comfortable doing, or go to your healthcare provider and talk to them, go to your nurse and talk to him or her, and let them know, this is what I found, or this is what I think, and this is how I feel. Am I right? Should I be gaining weight? Should I be losing weight? If you are overweight, it doesn't matter what you use, it's going to say you are overweight. You just want to know how much overweight you are. You want to know how much underweight you are. You want to know, how much space do you have to play with. Talking about fat, talking about obesity is a very sensitive, and it's very, very personal. So understanding and getting the absolute best results you can get from the best formula and the best, most precise, accurate tools is the way to go. So talk to your healthcare providers. Having a clearer answer might help you navigate being a healthy young lady, healthy young man. Moving on to the hero of the day, Mr. Marcos Perez. And why do you ask, is he the hero of the day? Mr. Perez has donated over 100 gallons of blood, which is absolutely amazing. I don't even know what that looks like. That's a whole lot of blood. That's enough blood to fill up a whole, Saw movie. So why did he start doing this? Because as a baby, Mr. Perez was born prematurely, and he severely needed blood transfusion to live. He got it. Everything went smooth, like he's a healthy man, and he's grown up, and he's been a healthy man ever since. So for 34 years, Mr. Perez has been going to the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center and been donating blood every other week for 2 hours. And so for 34 years, 2 hours every other week, donating his blood, he just recently hit the 100-gallon mark, making him the fourth person in Southern Texas to have reached that mark. When he was asked about how he felt about being the fourth person, he responded, "Don't cost me a dime, only some time," continuing by saying, "I'm 57 and I've already got 100 gallons. These other people are in their 70s and 80s. And when he says other people, he's talking about those three other people in Southern Texas who has hit that 100-gallon mark. He plans on continuing. When asked why does he plan on continuing and how does he find the time and how has he planned this his entire life for the past 34 years, he says, if you make time to go out and eat, If you make time to go to the movies, you can make time to come and donate some blood. I think that's absolutely amazing. So like if you're a nurse, if you're a healthcare provider, you know how often blood transfusions are done in hospitals. I mean, like every single day, 1,000 times a day throughout the entire nation. Thousands and thousands of times a day. And a lot of the time, these blood transfusions are the life-saving aspect of their treatment, right? When I read the story, when I heard about Mr. Perez, I was like, holy cow, I've only donated blood once. And as a nurse, when you're at your job, when you're working, you just quickly forget, because it's not like in one room there's someone donating blood and in the next room the next person gets it. No, that doesn't happen often, and when it does, it's very rare. The blood, it comes from the pharmacy, it comes from the lab, and it comes in a box of ice, and you quickly forget that this blood is actually donations from human beings, from other human beings. Because of that 100 gallons of blood that he has donated in the past 34 years, thousands and thousands of people are healthier, have survived, have gone through treatments that they might not have. So thank you very much, Mr. Perez. Hats off to you. Absolutely amazing. Hero of the day. You deserve it in every sense of the word. So, final story of the day, ending on a really good note, I think, is World Vasectomy Day. It is coming our way. Yes, you heard me right. I said World Vasectomy Day. And what is the World Vasectomy Day? Let me describe it to you right from the source. World Vasectomy Day celebrates responsible men for making the heroic and loving choice to sacrifice their fertility. These men step forward and take responsibility for family planning out of love for their wives and care for their children. It's the definition of being manly. I absolutely love that quote. I mean, it just is the definition of being manly. And you say, well, why so? Why is getting a vasectomy the definition? Because you have to understand something. Well, first of all, just know that this World Vasectomy Day, it is currently the largest male-oriented family planning movement, and it's taking over the world. It's taking the world by storm. But why is it important that men get vasectomies? Because you know that there's 1,001 different types of contraceptives out there, many of which are for women, because men really only have two options. That you have using a condom or vasectomy. I mean, the third is pulling out, but that I really don't consider that a kind of contraceptive. It's just making sure you pull out before you finish. But out of all the contraceptives used, that is measurable, not pulling out, because how can we measure that? But that is measurable. So despite being half of the partnership, men only contribute to 1/5 of the contraceptives used today. 1/5 of the contraceptives used, men are responsible for. Knowing that us men have many less options when it comes to contraceptives, it's logical to say, okay, that's the reason why we're 1/5 of the contraceptives, right? It makes sense that that's the reason why we don't use contraceptives as much. I don't think it's legitimate, but it's a logical argument, right? It's a logical argument. But if you compare the more permanent options between the two, the vasectomies versus the tubal ligation, it throws it out the window, especially when it comes to family planning and not just one night stands. I don't think that you should have a vasectomy if you're just going out having a good time and you're not married, you're not family planning. If you are family planning, those two options, the tubal ligation versus the vasectomy, there is no comparison. Why is there no comparison? Because number one, most importantly, a tubal ligation is 20 times more riskier than a vasectomy is. 20 times more riskier. On top of it being 20 times more riskier, it's 4 times more expensive, and the recovery period is 4 times longer for someone to get a tubal ligation, for a woman to get a tubal ligation versus a man getting a vasectomy. With all that being said, women sought out, women look for, women try, women have done the tubal ligations twice as much as men performing vasectomies. I think it's not just brave men, because I think this is not a brave man's decision. I think this should be a conversation you have with your partner. I'm not saying tubal ligation should stop forever. That's something you guys decide. You and your partner and your family that you're trying to build. You guys make those decisions. What I am saying is, if you do have the conversation, and if you're just doing it straight based on logic, the logical decision would be a man having a vasectomy, right? And the reversal from a vasectomy, 90 to 95% of the time it's successful. 90 to 95% of the time, those men who have the reversal have kids, no problems, no hiccups, right? So World Vasectomy Day this year will be November 17th. Get your, talk to your doctors, talk to your healthcare providers. If you have a family, if you don't want a family, whatever the situation is, you and your partner make those decisions. I think as a man, you need to take more responsibility and understand the risks and the benefits of a tubal ligation, of a vasectomy, versus just using a condom and just say we'll use a condom or we'll use the pill and hope no accidents ever happen again. Those are the decisions you guys make. I'm just here to give you guys the facts. Thank you again for watching. I hope you like this format better. If you don't, let me know in the comment section below. Tell me what you guys think about any of the stories that were mentioned today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have this conversation. I appreciate it. Thank you. Goodbye. Deuces.